In today's Daily Dose, we're asking the question, are you prepared for an emergency? Joining us now is ex-New York City police officer and adventure and survival expert Brian Brawdy with how to best prepare yourself to face an emergency situation. Brian, welcome to Bloom, and I'd like to say right at the outset, thank you very much, because I know that this is a momentous TV interview for you, even though you have done countless of them. Can you explain?
Yes, Maggie. Well, listen, let me return the thanks. My thanks go to you and everyone there at Bloom. This is my first television appearance in 6 years. 6 years ago, almost to the week, I did a live appearance on a national television show. I came back and they found a golf ball sized brain tumor. And that would start, really, to be honest with you, with all the places I've traveled, Maggie, the extremes in temperature and terrain, everything I've done around the world, nothing really competes to 5 brain surgeries over that time frame, all the amnesia, all the struggle back. So the honor is mine to be kicking it off with you for the first time in 6 whole years. Time.
Wow. Well,
unbelievable.
That's wonderful that you're on the other side of that. Just proved once again that you're always ready for anything and a survivor. So let's get to sharing tips with the rest of us. Brian, what is the art of ready?
Well, the art of ready really is a recognition, Maggie, and it's that when you're confronted by an emergency situation, regardless of what the situation is, we know one thing's going to happen. Your brain is instantly going to secrete the neurochemicals, the neurotransmitters. You need to decide, are you going to fight, are you going to flee, or are you going to freeze? And the nice thing about it is there's things that you and I can do today to make sure that we decide not to lose our minds in an emergency situation, but how we can go about keeping our head. And that's the art of ready. I kind of tongue-in-cheek call it the philosophy of unflappable.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because you think an emergency is impromptu. How can I possibly prepare ahead of time?
Well, that's interesting. 6 years ago, I answered that same question. And the nice thing about it is the mind doesn't know if, when you're dreaming, as you know, if you wake up during the middle of the night, your heart's racing, you feel like your legs have been running and you're sweating, your mind doesn't know if it's a dream or if it's real. It secretes those chemicals just as if it were wide awake. So there are things that you and I can do, which is why I call it the art of ready, in advance, so that we practice and our mind goes, well, that doesn't seem like all that big a deal. Yes, it's an emergency, but I've decided I'm going to use the chemicals. The chemicals of this impromptu situation aren't going to use me.
So how do we do that? How do you prepare ourselves to survive anything?
Well, you know, I brought a kit today. The nice thing about one of these survival kits, and I brought one here, and we'll go through it here in just a minute because some of its contents will surprise you, but it's a kit from Quake Kits. And what I do, especially as being a father of 5, I like to get the emergency preparedness kit. We call it crash kit in the military. I like to get the kit, go through it, so that in that emergency situation, when you have everything else going on, you're not worried about, wow, what is this? What is that? So get your emergency Quake kit and then dump it out on the floor, practice it, make sure you and your family members know exactly what's inside of it, because it increases your chances of coming out ahead.
So what are some of the things that should be in that kit?
Okay, you know what? When I thought about this, I thought, Brian, no one's going to want to hear how you personalize this kit for your kids.
Yes, we do.
But you're going to laugh. I have Whoppers, right? I have Whoppers. I have some macaroni and cheese, especially with the 3 younger ones, huge hits. I have some gummy bears, and I have, some fruit snacks. And here's the reason why, Maggie. In an emergency situation, if your kids are panicked, if they're petrified, if they're scared and crying, and you're turning around going, it'll be okay, you don't have the wherewithal to confront the threat straight on. So I like to make sure that I've mitigated. Do I have the switch? Does each kid have a little snack? Are they going, oh man, this must be another one of Crazy Dad's emergency preparedness drills? That way we know we can confront whatever the emergency is, knowing that they're like, it can't be that bad. We got fruit snacks.
I'm so glad I asked, because I was picturing like Band-Aids and stuff like that in the kit. I didn't even think of food.
Well, that's the first, well, it's bribe money, right, Maggie? It's bribing my kids to say, can I please just, right? If you have little ones, can I please just focus, right? So it's my ability to kind of bribe them. But you're absolutely right. Inside of the kit, you'll have other things. And this goes back, one of these things from Quick Kits, it's a little electronic fire starter. So my kids aren't always going, hey, mind if I play with matches? I'd like to prepare for an emergency situation. No matches for you. And then inside the kit, and here's some of the things you're probably more familiar with, like tools, emergency sleeping bag. And this is important because the kids practice sleeping in these. Again, Maggie, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm seeing a threat for the first time. I don't want them seeing it and panicking, and then I got to pay attention to what they're doing. But as you say, here's shelter and warmth.
Yes.
There's additional food that my wife and I will eat. But just make sure that they know what the contents of the kit are, because heaven forbid, Maggie, suppose it's you or me that get hurt.
Then they know what's in it, and they know what to do.
Exactly, yes, ma'am. That they know what to do.
Brian Brawdy, you know, you'd never know that it was your first interview in 6 years. You hit it out of the park.
Thank you so much, Maggie. And I'm glad to have been doing it with you.
Oh, thank you. Ditto. Head over to WFLA.com/Bloom for more information on this. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.